Hey guys, welcome back to Spire. Today we'll talk about 4 of the most disgusting Dr. Pimple Popper moments ever. Let's head into it. Number 4. A sack wall. In her latest Instagram post, Dr. Pimple Popper helps a woman deal with a cyst that just won't quit. Often the advice from dermatologists when dealing with a pimple or a blackhead is to give it time. If you're lucky, they'll simply vanish on their own. But when they won't, or when they simply return a few weeks or months after going away, it's sometimes necessary for a dermatologist to remove what's known as the sack wall. And that's exactly the step Dr. Pimple Popper takes, using a small pair of scissors and tweezers to clean out a patient's cyst, which, in a twist of irony, appears to be located next to a tattoo that says forever. In this case, it seems even the relationship has its limits. Your husband doesn't like to squeeze stuff like this, does he? You had to travel an hour away to get someone else to do it, Lee says before adding a final nod to her intensely loyal and seemingly ubiquitous fans. I bet you could have found someone closer if you'd put an ad out, she says. Popaholics are everywhere. They're everywhere. Number 3. A flying pillar cyst.
All I'm worried about is, do I have to shave my head? And you don't. I'm gonna push against you, okay?
Sure.
In an Instagram video, Dr. Sandra Lee deals with a pillar cyst that goes flying out of a patient's head. It takes some time for Dr. Lee to make the incision wide enough to get the cyst out. When the opening is finally big enough, Dr. Pimple Popper squeezes it, and the pillar cyst goes flying. Quick, someone catch that pop fly. In an Instagram video posted Monday, Dr. Lee handles a pillar cyst with a very powerful pop. For fans who crave this satisfying pop, the video will be an extreme tease-up until the dramatic climax. The first couple of times Lee squeezes the incision on her patient's scalp, the opening isn't quite big enough to let the pillar cyst come through. Finally, after enough scalpel work, the incision is big enough to make way for the cyst, and out it comes. The round pillar cyst goes flying out of the patient's head, but thankfully, Lee's able to recover it and display it in the palm of her hand. It came out like a cork, one fan observed in the comments. Watch the flying pillar cyst in the Instagram video here, and if you're into this video, check out our roundup of the best pillar cyst videos on Dr. Pimple Popper's Instagram. Number 2. A super juicy blackhead.
These dilated pores of Weiner are really just large blackheads that are superficial and more dried up, so.
Dr. Pimple Popper went all Bill Nye and gave subscribers a lesson in oxidation as she pushed out a gnarly blackhead. Using a loop extractor, the dermatologist wrestles out darkened crud from the bump on the patient's, I don't know, maybe back. It looks like it's back on the video, but one can't really tell. The insider mass, looking like a mass of dead insect bits, crumples as Lee presses down with a tool. She explains why the grisly mass looks so dirt-like. The reason they're so dark is they're oxidized. They've hit oxygen, said Lee, and so they're just a darker color. The ones that are trapped under there and don't get air exposed to them, those are the ones we call whiteheads. Indeed, this may be the simplest way to explain the difference between blackheads and whiteheads. Blackheads are clogged pores that with exposure to air turn dark and dry. Whiteheads, in which the oil and pus clings beneath the skin, keep their mushy texture and white keratin-like color. Dr. Pimple Popper's video gave a view of how far deep a blackhead can go, even as it depends on air for definition. They always are bigger than they look, she says. Indeed, subscribers know they always are. Number 1. A giant lipoma.
Got a big lipoma come to, like a little tuck, you know, on one side might mean that it's sort of tucked in little different fibrous bands.
This lipoma is truly the gift that keeps on giving. In an Instagram video, Dr. Sandra Lee wrestles an absolutely massive lipoma from a patient's back. Did I just pull out a lipoma or a magician's handkerchief? The dermatologist and TLC star writes in the caption, honestly Dr. P, we're not sure. She starts by making an incision across the giant lump, just below the person's neck. Then after widening the opening, just the right amount, she squeezes and pulls until the chicken cutlet-esque mass is freed from its bodily prison. Make sure you stick around for the moment when a huge chunk of lipoma slides out in an oh so satisfying way. Makes you look at chicken nachos in a whole other way, one commenter wrote. Which makes us wonder, how is this person making nachos? And do they need a better recipe? This brings us to the end of our video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit like if you did, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of our videos in the future. Also, watch the 2 videos that are on your screen because I'm sure you'll love them. With that, I'll see you in the next video.